What's going on, everybody? Zapman here to bring you the Hunter Build Guide Fail Not Edition. Now, for those of you that don't know, the big mid-season patch hit yesterday, and we got a bunch of new items. One of the items for hunters is called the Fail Not in the Arthurian tree. And I know a lot of people have been asking about, is this item good? When should I build it? How should I build it? It's only been a day, but we got it all figured out for you. And we're going to explain it all here in the guide. Let me start off by saying that Fail Not is a good item. And I'm probably going to build it a lot, even in SPL. And let's get right to it, okay? Then we're going to be talking about a few different builds. We're going to be talking about Devourer's Gloves with Fail Not, and we're going to be talking about Transcendence with Fail Not, okay? So let's start off with Devourer's Gloves because that build is simple with Fail Not, as Fail Not pretty much just replaces Rage in that build. So let's go ahead and just get it started. Of course, you start off with the Hunter's Blessing. Right here, select build. Nothing changes. You still go boots first, and then you want to get the new and improved Ninja Tabby that has 25% attack speed. Pretty much, this item now kind of outclasses the Warrior Tabby. I mean, you could still go Warrior Tabby if you're looking for kill potential, but overall, the attack speed boots just scale really well throughout the whole game, and I highly recommend going attack speed boots now pretty much permanently, unless you're building just full penetration, as in no attack speed items. You're literally just going all the maces and like a Bloodforge or something like that, like on a Scotty, for instance. If that's the case, I would still recommend Power Boots, but pretty much for all other builds, you go Ninja Tabby. So we go ahead and build this. Again, it's very standard build with the Devourer's Gloves, still the same thing. You go ahead, build Devos. And now here's where things get spicy. Fail Not is pretty much just better than Rage. It may not be higher crit percent chance, but overall the stats are just better. It is about 400 gold more expensive, but it's still worth the price. So third item, you want to get Fail Not. And this is where you get this nice spicy new item, Fail Not. 20% cooldown reduction, 45 physical power, 25% crit chance, same crit chance as Deathbringer. Really strong. The passive is when your ultimate ability has finished casting your next ability on basic attack within 8 seconds that damages an enemy god, marks them, increasing the chance for you and your allies to land a critical strike by 15% for 10 seconds. So it doesn't even matter if your allies don't have any crit. They still have a 50% chance to crit the enemy. It is technically a crit debuff. So it's very cool. It's really good for focusing down frontline, pretty much focusing down any priority target. It can be very strong. So boom, build it instead of Rage. And not to mention, you have that nice 20% CDR. It's pretty much just a luxury. You don't even need it, but it's just nice luxury to have. It's very strong. After that, it's basically the same build, same crit build as in my normal Hunter's build guide. You pretty much go Executioner, follow it up with Deathbringer, and now here's your choices. Okay, now here's where it gets slightly complicated. You only have 50% crit chance, and that is not high enough. Whereas with Rage and Deathbringer, you'd have 65, which is quite a bit. And then as the higher you go, the more diminishing returns you get in terms of how much your DPS increases with crit chance. So here you could chance it and say, okay, 50% crit chance is good enough for me. I'm going to go into maybe Titan's Bane, or I'm going to go into Oboe or Toxic Blade or whatever else. But for me personally, 50% crit chance is not enough. Here is where I recommend going triple crit. Which I think triple crit is very strong with Fail Not, because just that extra physical power too allows you to crit harder. So having more crit percent augments your damage that much. So here I would recommend almost always going Wind Demon. Again, the price got nerfed to match Poison Star. The passive, your critical hits increase your attack speed and movement speed by 20% for 5 seconds. And since you're going to have triple crit, you're pretty much going to have that up all the time. And with the upgraded Ninja Tabby, your DPS output actually increases a great deal. So now this is where I think Wind Demon is going to be very good with the Fail Not build. Everything of the Fail Not kind of augments the Wind Demon. You get the passive pretty much all the time, not to mention the extra attack speed. So I would suggest going here, Wind Demon for the Blessing. Sell that, boom, hit Wind Demon. Now you're just a freaking auto attack machine. And now after that, you want to sell your boots. You have a few options. If you feel like you have enough attack speed, you can go to Titan's Bane, and you'll probably be critting for about 1,000 damage, like huge crits. It'll actually be insane. Let's go ahead and build Titans. You can build Titan's Bane. You can, if you don't feel like you have enough attack speed, you can go Oboe And for all my anti-heal, pro anti-heal players out there, you can also go Toxic Blade. Toxic Blade giving you extra movement speed, 30% attack speed, 15 flat pen. You pretty much already have enough physical power because the Fail Not gives a lot of physical power compared to the Rage. It makes up for the lack of physical power from Toxic Blade, and you get the anti-heal, you get the extra movement speed, the little bit of extra health, and the 15 flat pen actually helps you do a crit a lot harder on squishies as well. So I recommend building Toxic Blade if you feel like you need the anti-heal. Very strong with the Fail Not, and then again, you can still go Oboe if you want the team fight damage. And that would be pretty much your full 7-item build. Let's go ahead and sell the Ninja Tabby. Let's go Toxic Blade for the memes. And this could be your end game build right here. So this is pretty much the Devourer's Gloves build. Now let's clear this up and talk about Transcendence. Transcendence is a little bit tricky because if you build Fail Not third and you don't have any lifesteal, you actually can get poked out in lane very easily. You take one bad trade and you might lose a buff because of it because you have no sustain. So we're going to talk about 2 builds, and it'll be 2 build orders where Fail Not is built early and it's built late, and I'll explain why you build it early or why you build it late. Now, the first thing you got to ask yourself is, does my hunter have built-in sustain? Does my Transcendence hunter have built-in sustain? What that means is some kind of healing in their kit. For Kurnos, for example, he has his lifesteal stance 1. Okay, you have built-in sustain, you can build Fail Not early. Cupid has his hearts, you can build Fail Not early. But if you take a look at someone like On Her, he does not have any sustain whatsoever. So you don't want to build Fail Not early because you will not be able to be aggressive with On Her if you do not have sustain. The other hunter will out-trade you every time, especially if you go to Devourer's Gloves. It is not smart to go Fail Not early. You have to build in the Aussie first. So with that being said, let's start with, for example, a god like Kurnos who has built-in sustain. We'll start the build with him. Now, I recommend going Hunter's Blessing again. For the most part, if he's not a super duper ability based god. For example, like Uller, I would go Mage's Blessing, but for someone like Kurnos, who's really mainly auto attacking, I would suggest Hunter's Blessing. Build the Hunter's Blessing, and I like to start with Transcendence 1 sometimes if you want to dominate the lane, or you could still again just go Boots 1 as well. Either one, it doesn't really matter. To each their own. You build what you want to build. Go ahead and get the attack speed boots. Let's switch this Morning Star for Transcendence as I explained it. So now here's your core 2 items with your blessing. Now if you have built-in sustain, I suggest getting Fail Not third. Fail Not third is just a very strong item to get third. You get a lot of fizz power, which is augmented by your Transcendence already. You already have a lot of attack speed with your buffed Ninja Tabby boots, so it's just such a strong item to get third. Not to mention you get the CDR, which helps you get more escapes, more all-in attempts, more poke attempts. Just a very good item. Very happy with this item. You build it third. And now, just like the Devourer's Gloves build, you need penetration 4th. Always get penetration 4th. Don't delay it. You need it. Build that Executioner. And now, here's where you could do a few things. You can go into, if the 25% crit is pretty much all you want, and you don't actually want to go into crit build, and you kind of want to like take advantage of the passive for your teammates and what's it called, the 20% CDR. You don't need to continue building crit, although I do recommend building into crit, but you don't have to. You could just gamble it and say, I just like the raw stats on Fail Not. The crit is just a luxury to me. If that's the case, you can just build into Chin Size, Titan's Bane, basically the regular attack speed pen build, and you'll do just fine. You can also do some gimmicky builds with Hydra's Lament and all those other things. But for this guide, I'm just going to keep it simple. We're going to be going crit here. And the natural progression after Executioner, when you already have 1 crit item, is to go Deathbringer. So I'd recommend going Deathbringer here. Build that bad boy. And then again, like the Devourer's Gloves build, I recommend going into triple crit. You sell your Blessing and you get Wind Demon. Let's get rid of the Blessing. Boom, Wind Demon. And you have your triple crit build. Now, again, you sell your Ninja Tabby for Titan's Bane, Oboe, Toxic Blade, all the things we talked about in the Devourer's Gloves build, and boom, you're going to be hitting like a truck. And since you already have built-in sustain, you skip the whole need of Devourer's Gloves and lifesteal. You should, like for Kurnos, for example, you're critting, you should lifesteal quite a bit off his lifesteal stance. And again, with like Cupid and stuff like Neath, you have to rely on that kind of built-in sustain. And that's pretty much it for Transcendence gods that have built-in sustain. Now let's talk about gods that don't have built-in sustain. Let's take away all this. For example, on her. If you want to do this build with on her, which is very strong on him as well, I recommend building the same core items. But in this instance, you have to get Aussie. You just have to do it before you get Fail Not, or you're just not going to have a good time in the game. Let's go ahead and grab it. You just need the lifesteal. You need to be able to sustain. You need to be able to trade with your opponents. You need to be able to farm the jungle without losing too much HP. You need the Aussie. Trust me on this. And after that, again, fourth item, always penetration. Do not neglect it. You need it. Get the Executioner. Now, after you have these core 4 items, then you can build into the Fail Not. It's a bit later, but you're going to thank me later when you build the Aussie. You have to get it if you don't have any sustain in the build. Then you build Fail Not 5th, and then the natural progression of things, after 1 crit item, you build the Deathbringer. And now, for the boots, you have to build the triple crit item, Wind Demon, so you don't really have any room for luxury, such as Toxic Blade or Oboe, but you do have the built-in Lifesteal and the Flat Pen from Aussie. Aussie's still a very strong item to have. And boom, you sell the boots, build the Wind Demon, and this is what your final build will look like if you do not have the built-in sustain. So these are the general builds for Fail Not. Sure, you can cater some specifically to certain gods, mess around with certain things like I talked about earlier, but these builds here, you will feel the strength of the item, and you will feel very strong throughout the whole game. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video guide. Enjoy the new item, go frag, and that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed these guides and you want to see more guides, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. I'm definitely pumping out content pretty much as I can. I've started scrimming again lately as SPL is starting back up, so my time is a bit pressed, but I'm still trying to keep the content train rolling. All right, thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed the guide, and I'll see you next time.